Welcome to Constructive Talks, and we speak forward. Today's breakout conversation is called Why Support Sometimes Comes from the People Who Owe Us Nothing. We are going to talk about something most people have experienced but do not always feel comfortable admitting. Sometimes the person who shows up for you is not your relative, childhood friend, partner, or somebody who has known you for 20 years. Sometimes it is a coworker, a new acquaintance, a business contact, a neighbor, or somebody who met you 10 minutes ago and decided your dream deserved oxygen.
And we need to be honest without turning the whole conversation into family bashing. Some relatives love you, but do not know how to support what you are trying to become. Some are dealing with their own problems, some do not understand your vision, and some may genuinely think they are protecting you by telling you to slow down. We can examine why strangers sometimes support us better without pretending every family member is jealous or every outsider has good intentions.
I appreciate that because support is complicated. I have received opportunities from people I barely knew, but I have also experienced people who acted supportive because they wanted access to my network, my work, or something I could eventually provide. A person owing you nothing does not automatically make their intentions pure. However, there is something powerful about being seen by someone who has no family history attached to how they evaluate you.
I also want us to look at how younger people define strangers now. Somebody can technically be a stranger while knowing your thoughts, favorite music, daily routine, and emotional struggles through social media. Meanwhile, a relative living 10 minutes away may know almost nothing about your current life. The old categories of stranger, friend, family, and community are changing, and sometimes emotional closeness no longer follows physical distance or family titles.
Let me begin with the hardest part. Family can love you and still refuse to update its understanding of you. You can be 50 years old, own businesses, write books, raise children, overcome failures, and transform your whole way of thinking. But somebody in the family still sees the 12-year-old version of you who made one embarrassing mistake. A stranger meets the person standing in front of them today, while family sometimes enters the room carrying an old file on you.
That is true, but sometimes family remembers the past because the past had consequences. We cannot always say, that happened years ago, and expect everyone else to forget what it cost them. If somebody borrowed money repeatedly, disappeared during difficult times, or made promises they never kept, their family may need evidence of change before offering full support again. A stranger is responding to the presentation. Family may be responding to a pattern.
Both things can be true. Family history can provide useful information, but it can also become a prison. I have seen people change careers, get sober, become responsible parents, or start successful companies, and their relatives still introduce them through the worst chapter of their lives. At some point, remembering history becomes refusing to acknowledge development. Accountability should make growth possible, not permanently disqualify someone from being seen differently.
That is where younger people use the word boundaries, although we sometimes overuse it. We are saying that knowing someone for a long time does not give them unlimited authority to define us. A family member may remember what happened, but they should not be able to weaponize it every time we try something new. You cannot claim to love someone while constantly dragging their past into every room they enter.
And family titles can create expectations that strangers do not carry. When you tell a relative about a dream, they may immediately calculate what it could mean for them. Are you going to ask for money? Are you going to become unavailable? Are you going to think you are better than everybody? Are you going to leave the family behind? The conversation becomes loaded before you finish explaining the idea.
Sometimes that comes from fear. Families that have experienced instability can become suspicious of anything uncertain. A person says they are quitting a dependable job to start a business, and the family hears rent problems, unpaid bills, and another crisis they may be expected to solve. The stranger hears innovation because the stranger will not be responsible if the plan collapses. That does not always mean the stranger believes in you more. Sometimes the stranger simply has less risk.
That is an important distinction. But support does not always mean financing the dream or agreeing with every decision. Sometimes support is listening without immediately predicting disaster. Sometimes it is asking thoughtful questions, sharing a contact, reviewing a proposal, or saying, I do not fully understand this, but I see how serious you are. Families sometimes think the only choices are complete financial involvement or complete emotional withdrawal.
Or they laugh at it before they understand it. A young person says they want to create videos, design games, sell artwork online, build a podcast, or work in an industry the family has never heard of, and somebody says, that is not a real job. Then a stranger online explains how the industry works and gives them their first practical advice. Of course, that stranger begins feeling more supportive than home.
That phrase, "that is not a real job," has buried a lot of ideas before they had an opportunity to breathe. We must be careful because every generation recognizes certain paths as legitimate and treats unfamiliar paths as irresponsible. A relative may believe they are offering wisdom, but if their wisdom is based only on what existed 30 years ago, they may be giving yesterday's directions to somebody traveling through today's world.
But the younger generation should also understand that excitement is not preparation. Every idea is not a business. Every follower is not a customer, and every encouraging comment is not a sustainable market. Family questions can sound negative because they ask what strangers may avoid asking. What is the plan? How will you pay your bills? What happens if this does not work? Support should not require people to pretend risk does not exist.
Absolutely, but the questions should help sharpen the vision rather than embarrass the person for having one. There is a difference between saying, "Let us examine the financial plan," and saying, "You are always coming up with something." One treats the person like a developing professional, the other treats them like a permanent joke. The tone tells you whether the questions are intended to strengthen you or shrink you.
That is powerful because the family can become a stage where everyone is expected to keep playing the original character. The child who struggled in school becomes the slow one, even after developing wisdom that cannot be measured on a report card. The child who was quiet becomes the shy one, even after learning to speak publicly. The family remembers the casting decision and ignores the person's evolution.
Families also use humor to avoid uncomfortable updates. Somebody makes a serious announcement, and an uncle brings up a childhood nickname. Everybody laughs, the tension breaks, and the adult is suddenly reduced to a 7-year-old again. The humor may seem harmless, but repeated often enough, it communicates. You may have grown outside this house, but inside this family, we still control the version of you that counts.
I had a professional mentor tell me something similar. She said sometimes the people who knew you before your confidence developed feel entitled to the version of you that doubted yourself. That stayed with me because confidence changes relationships. A person who once relied on everybody's approval may stop asking permission. People who benefited from the insecure version may interpret the healthier version as arrogance.
Social media makes that more complicated because everybody sees the new version at the same time. A person changes their style, starts traveling, begins speaking differently, or launches a project, and relatives may accuse them of performing for the internet. Sometimes they are performing, but sometimes they finally found a space where people respond to who they are becoming instead of constantly reminding them who they used to be.
That is why strangers can feel liberating. They do not know the nickname. They do not know who failed algebra, who got divorced, who went bankrupt, who used to stutter, or who had to move back home. They encounter your current words, work, energy, and vision. That absence of history can become a clean surface where a new relationship is allowed to form.
But history can also protect us. A stranger may see confidence while family recognizes manipulation. A stranger may see ambition while family remembers a pattern of using people. We should not romanticize being unknown. Sometimes people support us quickly because they have not had enough time to understand us. Family knowledge can be unfairly limiting, but it can also be a warning system.
That is why mature support includes discernment. The goal is not to replace family with strangers or strangers with family. The goal is to recognize who is capable of supporting which part of your life. Your sister may not understand your business model, but may support you emotionally. A professional contact may understand the business, but know nothing about your deeper emotional needs.
I think we get hurt because we expect one person or one group to provide every form of support. We want family to be emotional safety, business advisors, investors, cheerleaders, emergency contacts, therapists, and loyal customers. That is a lot. Maybe part of adulthood is building an ecosystem instead of expecting one relationship to carry the whole weight.
That word ecosystem belongs here. Support may come from several places because human beings have several needs. The person who believes in your idea may not be the person who understands your pain. The person who helps during a crisis may not know how to promote your work. The stranger who opens one door may become part of your support ecosystem without replacing anybody else.
And family members are individuals too. We sometimes treat the title mother, father, brother, or cousin as if it automatically gives the person unlimited emotional capacity, wisdom, money, time, and patience. They may be struggling privately. Their inability to support a particular dream may reflect their limitations rather than their lack of love.
Yes, but limitations should be communicated honestly. Say, I love you, but I do not understand this industry. Say, I cannot invest, but I will share your information. Say, I do not have the emotional capacity to discuss this tonight, but let us talk tomorrow. Silence and dismissal create a different wound because they leave the person interpreting what the absence means.
Younger people often say, nobody owes you anything. And I understand the point. We are trying to reduce entitlement. But taken too far, that phrase can destroy a community. Maybe a stranger does not owe me anything legally or contractually, but relationships create moral responsibilities. If everybody owes everybody nothing, then we end up with a society where abandonment is treated as strength.
Exactly. The title is not saying family owes us unlimited obedience or that strangers are obligated to rescue us. It asks why people without a formal relationship sometimes offer what people with a meaningful relationship refuse to provide. That difference forces us to examine whether family titles have become substitutes for family conduct.
A title can create false confidence. Someone says, that is my brother, but they have not spoken meaningfully in 2 years. Someone says, that is my best friend, but the relationship survives only through old memories. The title remains because changing it would require an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes a stranger behaves more like family than the person carrying the family name.
In business, we say performance eventually reveals the strength of a relationship. Somebody can call themselves a partner, mentor, collaborator, or supporter, but when it is time to make an introduction, review the document, answer the call, or stand beside you publicly, the behavior becomes the real title. Support is not proven by what someone calls themselves.
Online relationships are similar. People say, that is my internet friend, as though it is less real. But that person may have checked on them every week, encouraged them through school, helped them prepare for an interview, and celebrated their progress. The relationship may have started digitally, but consistency made it real. Physical proximity alone does not create emotional presence.
That makes me think about family reunions. People gather, take photographs, wear matching shirts, eat together, and celebrate the family name. But the deeper question is what happens after the reunion? Who checks on the elderly relative? Who mentors the younger person? Who helps the family member looking for work? Who follows up with the person who quietly admitted they were struggling?
Sometimes family performs togetherness better than it practices togetherness. We know how to gather for weddings, funerals, graduations, and holidays. We may not know how to maintain connection during ordinary months. Crisis creates temporary unity because everybody understands what to do. Daily support is harder because it requires consistency without ceremony.
The stranger sometimes succeeds because there is no ceremony. They simply see a need and respond. A former coworker forwards an opportunity. A customer recommends your service. Somebody at a conference introduces you to the right person. They are not thinking about family politics or whether supporting you changes the social hierarchy. They just recognize a useful connection.
And sometimes strangers are less threatened by your growth because your growth does not force them to compare themselves. Inside families and long friendships, people may have developed an invisible scoreboard. Who earns more? Who got married first? Whose children are doing better? Who received more attention? A stranger can celebrate you without feeling that your success lowers their ranking.
That family scoreboard can turn love into competition. People stop asking, how can I support you? And start asking, what does your success say about me? Your new opportunity becomes somebody else's evidence that they are behind. Instead of joining the celebration, they protect themselves through criticism, silence, or changing the subject.
We also need to admit that the person seeking support may contribute to that competition. Some people announce success in a way designed to make relatives feel inferior. They do not share, they perform. Then they call the family jealous when the response is complicated. Humility does not require hiding your achievements, but how you carry success affects how people experience it.
True, although we should not require people to make themselves smaller so everyone else remains comfortable. The healthiest environment allows one person's achievement to become evidence of possibility rather than a threat. That requires emotional maturity on both sides. The successful person remains grounded, and the family resists turning comparison into resentment.
It also requires us to redefine support. Liking every post is not support. Buying everything your relative creates is not always realistic. But asking how the project is going, sharing it with someone who may genuinely need it, attending one event, or giving honest feedback can matter. People sometimes withhold small forms of support because they cannot offer the biggest form.
And when strangers provide those small forms consistently, the impact becomes large. One encouraging message can arrive on the exact day somebody is considering giving up. One introduction can change the direction of a business. One person saying, "I see what you are trying to build," can restore energy that years of familiar silence depleted.
We should not forget that strangers may be responding to something family no longer notices, because familiarity can make people careless. The people around you every day may stop seeing your discipline because they are accustomed to it. A new person sees the work with fresh eyes. Sometimes the difference is not hatred or jealousy, it is that familiarity has made your effort invisible.
That happens in workplaces too. The dependable employee becomes taken for granted, while the new leader immediately recognizes their value. The organization has seen the person perform for years and begins treating excellence as ordinary. Then somebody from outside says, "Why is this person not leading a team?" Fresh perspectives can reveal neglected talent.
So maybe the first segment ends with this. Strangers are not magical, and family is not automatically harmful. The difference is often perspective. Strangers may meet our presence while family meets our history. Healthy support requires the people who know our history to remain willing to meet us again.
Let's move from the family room into the workplace, the business space, the networking event, and those unexpected encounters where somebody we never imagined becomes an advocate, customer, mentor, collaborator, or bridge.
Let us begin this segment with a simple question. Why can somebody who met us at a conference, community event, workplace, or ordinary conversation recognize an opportunity that people around us have ignored for years? Sometimes, the person who owes us nothing becomes the person who says our name in a room we could not enter by ourselves.
Because networking at its best is not collecting contacts, it is recognizing alignment. I may meet someone for 20 minutes and immediately understand how their experience connects with a problem in my organization. Their family may see them as the person who always has ideas, but I see a specific skill that solves a specific need. Context changes what becomes visible.
That is important. At home, a person is surrounded by the ordinary details of life. They leave dishes in the sink, forget birthdays, complain about work, and occasionally make poor decisions. In a professional setting, people primarily encounter their expertise. Family sees the whole human being, while the business contact may see the most focused version.
But sometimes that focused version is the real version too. People say social or professional settings are fake because everyone presents their best side, but maybe home is not the only place where authenticity exists. A person can genuinely be more energized, confident, and articulate when discussing what they love. The environment may reveal a part of them that home never invites.
That is a strong point. We often assume the family knows us best because it has known us longest. Time does not automatically equal depth. Somebody can know your habits for 30 years and never understand your purpose. Another person can ask the right question in one conversation and reach a part of you that has been waiting to be acknowledged.
I remember attending an event where I nearly left early because I did not feel like I belonged. I spoke briefly with a woman standing near the exit, and she asked what kind of work I wanted to do rather than what position I currently held. That one question changed the conversation. She later introduced me to someone who helped me move into a completely different professional space.
What did she gain from making the introduction?
Nothing immediate. That is why it stayed with me. She recognized that my skills were being underused, and she had access to somebody who might appreciate them. She did not demand a percentage, a favor, or public recognition. She simply said, "You two need to speak." That introduction did not solve everything, but it moved me closer to where I belonged.
That kind of support feels powerful because it is clean. There is no old debt or family obligation attached. Nobody can later say, "After everything I have done for you." Of course, the relationship may develop expectations later, but the initial act feels like somebody responded to possibility instead of history.
Let's call this untitled support. The person does not need to be your aunt, cousin, oldest friend, godparent, manager, or official mentor. They do something supportive before a title exists. The behavior comes first, and the relationship may receive a name later.
I like that, but people need discernment because fast support can create fast trust. Someone opens one door, and suddenly we give them access to everything. Gratitude should not eliminate judgment. A person can help you professionally and still be unsafe emotionally, financially, or personally. Absolutely. A referral does not make someone family. A compliment does not make someone a mentor. We should appreciate the act without assigning the person a permanent role before consistency develops. Business relationships become dangerous when emotional hunger causes us to ignore boundaries. That happens a lot online. Somebody finally validates a person who feels unseen at home, and the person begins sharing private information immediately. The supporter may be genuine, but validation can lower defenses. We need to teach people that being understood is meaningful, but it is not the same as being fully known.
This is where the hunger for support matters. When people have been emotionally underfed, the first person offering encouragement can feel like a feast. They may confuse relief with loyalty. We need to receive support without surrendering our judgment.
and we need to understand reciprocity. The title says the person owes us nothing, but that does not mean we should receive it indefinitely without asking what we can contribute. Healthy networking is not using generous people. It is allowing value to move in both directions, even when the value is not immediate or equal.
Reciprocity can be as simple as remembering who helped you and being willing to help someone else. The original person may never need anything from you. You honor the support by not becoming a locked door after somebody opened one for you. Generosity should travel.
This really is the part people sometimes miss. They receive an introduction, job lead, creative opportunity, or advice, then guard what they learned because they are afraid someone else will become competition. The stranger helped them without obligation, but once they gain access, they start acting like everybody else must earn the secret.
That can easily take us back to I and we. The person celebrates escaping a difficult position, but does not ask how to make the path more visible for others. Success becomes extraction. Get out, move up, protect access, and distance yourself from the people still trying to understand the system.
We should also be realistic about business. Every contact cannot be shared with everyone. Reputation is involved. If I refer someone who is unreliable, their conduct can damage my credibility. Supporting the community does not mean attaching your name to people whose work you have not evaluated.
Exactly. A referral is a transfer of trust. Before I recommend someone, I need confidence in their professionalism, communication, and ability to deliver. But I can still offer developmental support, review their materials, explain what the industry expects, or tell them what must improve before I refer them. Saying not yet can be constructive support.
That is different from gatekeeping without explanation. A person asks for help, and somebody says, "You are not ready," but refuses to explain what readiness requires. Then they hide behind standards. Standards should be teachable. Otherwise, access remains mysterious and people with family connections continue moving ahead.
Many people inherit networks before they earn accomplishments. They know whom to call, how to speak in certain rooms, what documents to prepare, how to follow up, and what unwritten rules matter. Others are told to work hard, but never taught how opportunity actually circulates.
That is why unexpected supporters truly matter. They sometimes explain the hidden process. They tell you, "Do not send that resume in this format," or "Follow up within 2 days," or "Here is how these decisions are made." The information may seem small to someone raised around it, but it can change everything for someone entering the room for the first time.
One of my strongest mentors never called herself my mentor. She corrected how I communicated with senior leaders. She told me I was over-explaining because I was trying to prove I belonged. She taught me to state the recommendation, support it with evidence, and stop apologizing for taking up space. That guidance affected every room I entered afterward.
Wow, that is a great example of support that changes identity, not just circumstances. She did not only give you an opportunity, she helped you understand how to carry yourself inside opportunities. Sometimes family encourages us emotionally, but cannot teach us the codes of a space they have never entered.
And sometimes pride prevents us from admitting that. We may become angry that our parents did not prepare us for something they were never taught themselves. They gave us what they understood. The stranger enters with knowledge from another environment and fills a gap. Receiving that help does not require dishonoring the family.
We should give families grace for what they could not provide, while still naming what was missing. Both are possible. You can say, "My mother loved me deeply, but she could not teach me how to navigate corporate leadership." That is not betrayal. It is an honest description of different forms of knowledge.
Families can become curious instead of defensive. When an outside mentor helps their relative grow, the family does not have to see that person as competition. They can say, "I am grateful somebody saw what we did not know how to develop." Support networks should expand the family's capacity, not threaten it.
Unless the mentor starts disrespecting the family or acting like they created the person. That happens too. Someone helps you professionally, then begins framing your entire past as a wasteland before they arrived. A good supporter adds to your life without requiring you to erase everybody who came before them.
That is important. Untitled support should not become untitled control. The person who opens a door does not own the person who walks through it. Gratitude is appropriate. Lifelong submission is not. Support becomes manipulation when the giver continually uses the gift to claim authority over your future.
This applies to family too. "I helped you" can become a permanent invoice. Somebody pays for 1 semester of school, provides temporary housing, or helps during a crisis, then believes every future decision must include their approval. The support may have been genuine, but repeated reminders can transform the gift into emotional debt.
In professional spaces, that sounds like, remember who gave you your first opportunity. A healthy mentor wants the person to become independent. An unhealthy mentor needs the person to remain visibly indebted. The difference appears when the developing person begins making decisions outside the mentor's influence.
Social media creates public versions of that. People announce every good deed, so the recipient's gratitude becomes part of their image. There is nothing wrong with sharing community work, but we should ask whether the story centers on the people being helped or the person receiving applause for helping.
Real support does not always require secrecy, but it should protect dignity. The recipient should not feel like a prop in somebody else's generosity campaign. A stranger's support can feel especially meaningful when it arrives without humiliation, interrogation, or a demand for public praise.
Sometimes family support feels intrusive because the family wants every detail before helping. Why did this happen? What did you spend? Who were you with? Why did you not listen? Some questions are necessary, especially with money, but the person may already feel ashamed. A stranger may respond to the immediate need without reopening every old failure.
That's one reason professional mentors can feel safer. The conversation is often focused. What are you trying to accomplish? What obstacle is in the way? What resources would help? Family conversations can become emotionally crowded because 10 other unresolved issues enter at the same time.
Friends can do that too. You tell them about one problem, and suddenly you are discussing something you did in 2019. People who know us well sometimes lose the ability to remain with the present issue. The stranger has no archive to search, so the conversation stays cleaner.
But let us not confuse clean with complete. A stranger may provide the right answer for the immediate situation and still not understand the emotional pattern underneath it. Family may frustrate us because they see connections we would rather avoid. We need both fresh perspective and honest history.
Correct. The best support system includes people who know where you have been and people who can see where you are going. If everybody only knows the past, growth feels impossible. If everybody only knows the presentation, self-deception becomes easier. Wisdom comes from allowing different perspectives to speak.
I would add people who understand the field you are entering. Love cannot substitute for expertise. Your family may believe in your restaurant, book, consulting company, technology, idea, or nonprofit, but you still need people who understand operations, financing, marketing, law, customer expectations, and execution.
Expertise should not eliminate humanity. Some professional spaces offer opportunity, but no care. They value what you produce, not who you are. The person may feel celebrated while useful and abandoned when struggling. That is not the same as family support, even when the business relationship appears more encouraging.
So the unexpected supporter may play one chapter rather than the entire book. The mistake is expecting every meaningful person to remain forever. Some people arrive to open a door, teach a lesson, make an introduction, or restore confidence. Their temporary role does not make the contribution false.
That can be difficult because people attach permanence to gratitude. We think, this person changed my life, so this relationship must last forever. But relationships change. You can honor what someone did without forcing both people to remain in a form that no longer fits.
Some of my most important professional relationships were seasonal. We worked closely, learned from one another, and moved in different directions. There was no betrayal. The relationship completed its purpose. We need language for endings that do not require a villain.
Online culture struggles with that. We often treat unfollowing, distancing, or ending collaboration as evidence that someone was fake from the beginning. Sometimes people simply evolve. Support can have been real during the period it existed. Not every ending rewrites the entire relationship.
That is a powerful place to pause. Sometimes support comes from people who owe us nothing because they are able to meet one need without carrying every expectation attached to our history. Their contribution may be brief, but brief does not mean insignificant.
Thank you for tuning in to Constructive Talks and We Speak Forward. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also check the links in the description. Until next time, go have a blast and support someone unconditionally. Stay tuned for part 2. Bye everyone. Enjoy your day.